What up, y'all? We are here for our weekly romance oracle reading. I'm just gonna, that was too much, but I will take this one. Hope everybody's doing well. We're just here to check in with our love lives and see, how we can direct our focus and attention and energy this week to help us find love, keep love, sustain love, deepen love, heal love, self-love. Let's see what the first card is. Worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your love life. Sometimes we feel a sense of panic wash over us. I was just talking to my coworkers last night about dating apps and whatnot, and I said I'd never made a profile, and they're like, Liz, you gotta get on that. That's how it works these days. But I've never felt intuitively led to do it. And it doesn't fill me with this sense of excitement. It fills me with like the ick. And so I have never done one. But the only time I ever feel like making one is when I feel time's running out, time's ticking. It never comes from a positive place, it comes from a negative place. So I think that we really need to trust the timing right now. If you feel led to do that and you feel a positive sense of like openness and lightness about it and uplifting, then do it. Go for it. That's taking the guidance. That's following those pings. That's following that inner prompt. But if you don't feel like, if you feel heavy, you feel like, or you feel obligated or stressed about it, then that is not a good time to take action towards your love life. Because when we feel lack, it opens us up to be targets for people who have ill intentions or just settling for something that's not quite right? Sometimes it's not as malicious as inviting in a trickster type, but sometimes it's just as benign as like settling for someone who's not really in alignment, and then your energy and your availability is tied up. And you could be missing out on someone who's circling the runway, so to speak, who is in alignment. So, you never know when you are prepared, but maybe the person that is for you is maybe coming out of a relationship or hasn't moved to your city yet. And there are like things up in the air, variables that are affecting, when you meet this person and the timing of it. And sometimes it doesn't come down to like, oh, what is it in me that I'm not meriting this situation? There's another person involved too, and they have free will and they have other people in their lives that are variables as well. So sometimes the universe has to untangle the fated knots before they can really align that situation for you. And even if you were to meet the right person and they weren't ready yet because of something they've just come through, then it gets you started off on the wrong foot, and it may, prevent the thing from really happening or giving you like a good positive start. So we're trusting the timing. We're trying to stay patient, and we're knowing that the right thing is worth waiting for. I've been in and out of relationships for my adult life. And I will say this, in my early life, I was really preoccupied with wanting to find love and wanting to get that situated, and I wanted to be settled down. I think I've wanted to get married since like I was 5 years old. Like I was ready to meet the one and like have like a fulfilling life and build memories and a life together. And that was not what was in the cards for me. I've had a mixed bag of relationships and, some long, some brief. And I will say this, sometimes, something's very fulfilling and it lasts for as long as it does. And then you complete the contract that you have together, the soul contract, and then there's nothing more that you can take away from that situation, and so you kind of graduate the relationship. And those are great, and it doesn't mean that it wasn't valuable, it doesn't mean it wasn't worth having, it doesn't mean it was a mistake or a failure. And then there are relationships where maybe you get in them. So I just ate like chocolate covered almonds, so I feel like I'm like just gonna spit them out everywhere. Then you get into maybe relationships where you stay past the expiration date and things start getting toxic, or they start to disintegrate and it starts to become negative. And then there are those ones where you were like, oh, I think I'll try this out. But it was like, there's never really any chemistry. It's a warm body situation. And the longer you left it, the harder it was to sort of end things. And then we have those like nuclear mistakes where we're like, God, I wish I'd never done that. And so like taking into account the range of relationship experiences, I will say this: being alone for the last few years, and there have been stretches in my life where I've been single for like a year or two, but I think this is my third year being single and like living by myself and being self-sufficient. And it's been a really fulfilling and satisfying experience overall. I've become satisfied and content with myself and comfortable in that solitude. But I will say this, now that I have established my own security and I'm comfortable in my own company and I'm comfortable in solitude, I would think long and hard before I ever gave up my place or, started to just give someone the commitment levels before they had proven themselves to me or who they were. Because being trapped inside of the wrong relationship or feeling trapped inside of the wrong relationship is so much worse than seasons of loneliness. Feeling like isolated within a relationship feels so much worse than being isolated because you're single. Because then it feels like you have these compounding layers of wondering where the relationship's going, if it's over, thinking about your life kind of imploding and having to rebuild it again. Feeling like your self-esteem and self-confidence and you're second guessing yourself and it's just chipping away day by day. And then you feel the claustrophobia of I can't get my needs met and this is it. Like this is what I have to you shouldn't rely solely on your partner to meet your needs, but it is worth choosing someone who naturally is capable of being that person that satiates your needs and desires and preferences. You want to look for someone with compatibility, an inherent compatibility that you don't have to like fixer upper the situation. It's just like, this is who that person is and you have matching temperaments and your differences are compatible and your likeness is compatible, and you want to really weigh out like the important core values and your deal breakers and non-negotiables and things like that. And you need to know the difference between those and what your preferences are, because preferences can be more, flexible. You might get to know someone and you might value them more than the initial feeling that you had in the beginning when you were just going off of your like superficial list kind of thing. So, getting really clear with yourself about what you need in a relationship to be fulfilled and sustained and happy. And also knowing that you can also be that for yourself too, but it doesn't excuse your partner from delivering any of the good relationship stuff, right? So yeah, it's worth waiting for sure. Playfulness. This keeps coming up. We've had this for like 2 or 3 weeks in a row. To recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. So yeah, it's like, it's funny. I was just watching a short video on TikTok by a feminine energy coach that I really like. She's not airy-fairy feminine energy coach. She's like, this is more like practical, pragmatic, like what sisterly advice. Like if you had like a big sister who really had it down and knew her stuff and knew what she was talking about, like she's giving you the advice that's going to help you be a high value woman and get that, like have that relationship dynamic that you want to have, because she tells it like it is. And she was just saying to this woman, or this girl who was like, how do I get my partner to understand how important it is to spend time together? And I'm going to really shorten her response, but it was like, it is important that you spend time together as a couple. But if you're trying to convince a man of how important it is to spend time with you, and you're just becoming this nag who's like trying to like make algebra seem fun, and you've become algebra. You're like, it's important that you know this. Like, it's important that you spend time with me. And she was like, I would challenge you to self-reflect and ask yourself, are you fun to spend time with? Like, because men go do things like play golf and they play video games and stuff because they want to feel the sense of winning, and they want to feel that sense of like satisfaction of like, you know, being the hero, even if it's in the golf game or in the video game. And so she's like, how do you make your man feel? Are you always like on him about something? Are you, you know, or are you light and fun to be with? Are you showing him appreciation? Are you happy to make him feel like your hero? Or is it like an ego battle all the time? It's like if someone doesn't want to spend time with you, then, and you've checked yourself and you're light and fun and all of that, then they might not be that invested in you. And so the key here is like, have that light, fun energy. It's attractive. But if you are a woman in a male-female dynamic and you're wanting somebody to chase you, she also uses this illustration of men like to hunt and they like to pursue. And so women are kind of like leaning in or like slipping into that masculine role of what are we like, what is this relationship? Like, you know, I need clarity. Where is this going? Like, you know, why haven't you made plans for us? Like, it's like you're taking over his role. And it's like if a man wants to hunt and you're showing up, making it easy for him, then it's as if he wanted to go out and hunt a moose, and you're the moose, and you've like gone up to the cabin door and you're just sitting on the porch and you're like, all right, I'm here. You can kill me now, put me on your mantle. And it like takes the sport out of it. It takes the hunt. It takes the interest and the intrigue and the excitement. You know, men don't necessarily want to feel like everything's easy. They want to feel emotions and the range of emotions. So you're not going to entice someone to pursue you if you're the one pursuing them. When you're playing chase, one person is chasing and the other person is running. And if you want a healthy, sexy male-female dynamic, then you cannot be the chaser. Look up all the stuff around black cat energy. You know, there's like this Labrador energy, which is like I'm running after you. I'm happy to do whatever you want. Like I'm, you know, people pleasing and happy to please you, and I'm obedient and I'm loyal and all that stuff. But that's not attractive. It's not really enticing and sexy, and it doesn't make a man want to pursue you and invest in you, want to commit. It's like, it almost like, it like throws water on the fire, and it makes you more of like the sister or the mother feeling to him. Whereas the black cat, if you ever have met a cat, they're very independent. When they feel like having, you know, your presence, they will come for a minute and then they'll fuck right off. Like they are doing their own thing. They're not worried about you. They're not obedient. Although I did teach a cat to shake once. Much to the dismay of the guy who I was dating. It's his cat. I was like, watch this. And he's like, you are like, I don't even know what. Yeah, so, you know, be independent. And if someone isn't pursuing exclusivity, then just keep seeing other people. And if they don't go after that with you, then after a while you can interpret that as this they probably don't want it. So continue to like see other people and keep your options open, but don't be the one always asking about those kinds of things, or like making sure that we're making plans, or if they mentioned kind of loosely like there's plans coming up this weekend, like don't be the one to like be like, well, I never heard from you, are we still on? Like just take it as a no until there's a solid plan and keep going about your business. But in the meantime, be the light, playful person that they want to be around. Don't be heavy. Don't be naggy. Like, do your own thing and be independent. And if they're not interested, then like take the hint, right? Like, guys are not hard to read. They're not mysterious. They're pretty obvious. If they're slightly interested in you at all, they will show up in your DMs and in your stories, and they will make it happen till the cows come home. And they need to be like almost strongly dissuaded. But if they're just like lukewarm, then there's a chance that you've made it convenient. So they have something to do, they have something to pacify themselves. They may have no intention to take it forward from there. So the key is to be light and playful and fun and interested in them and interesting to be with. And that is how you radiate that goddess energy, that feminine energy. But it's definitely not like, the scheduler, the gotta make it happen energy. That's repellent to a healthy masculine man. Now, you can be like that. You'll attract a passive feminine man who will make you want to pull your hair out, and you'll feel like his mom, and you will start to see him as your troubled son. And then that will, I've got like a gnat swarming around my face, but that'll really kill all of the attraction, all of the tension, all of the chemistry. And I'm of the mind that even in same-sex couples, there's still one person that is more the masculine energy, and there's another person that's more the feminine energy. And I guess like you could like oscillate back and forth in that situation. But if you want someone pursuing you, then you can't nag them into it. You kind of just have to be, independent and doing your thing and having a good time. And eventually they'll see the shininess and want to follow and see what's going on. So our next card is getting to know each other. As you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your love bond deepens. This is a continuation of our theme last week. This really came up. So as you maybe meet new people, or you might start dating someone, take your time. I'm a mess. I've got a gnat. I've got like almonds in my teeth. I'm belching. So sexy. So such a feminine goddess over here. But super comfortable with myself. So like, as you're getting to know one another, take your time, because it's a stage you can't get back. And once you start getting excited about the chemistry and you start rushing things forward and, spending tons of time together, and it like almost like gives you a false sense of intimacy, and it builds a shaky foundation. And then you're also speeding things forward during a window of time where someone is showing you their best version of themselves, and they're on their best behavior, and they're like in their like catalog airbrushed self phase. And that can only be maintained. The facade is going to crumble after like 3 to 6 months. So as you slowly get to know someone over that amount of time, it's like the slower you go, the faster things will actually go in your favor. But if you like rush forward through those phases, then you can rush into a commitment, and then 6 or 8 months down the road find out, ooh, this was a bad idea. Then you feel like you're invested. Then you feel like, oh, we started to like interweave our lives together. And you're like, no, I don't feel like moving again, right? Or like, oh, we just changed our relationship status, and now I'm too embarrassed to go back now. And so I've got to, so many times rushing in, it doesn't get you anywhere any faster than had you just taken the time. Because if you take your time getting to know someone slowly, it's usually by the 3 to 6 month point anyway that you kind of know whether you want to commit and like make it for real. I think you start getting a good idea about someone after like spending about 3 months with them. But if you go slow and you let things progress naturally, but like pace it and keep it at a level-headed pace, then you're getting to know the real person. You have more time to think about like ways to explore who this person is and what their values are. It gives you more time to see how they handled the different situations that life throws at them. Whereas if you make all your decisions in the thrush of the honeymoon phase of the beginning, then you don't see what it's like for them when they feel comfortable and they feel like they can now, I can now, not stop making an effort and like let my guard down. And then you're like, oh, I'm already so emotionally invested, and now this person suddenly changed and they don't seem to be respecting me anymore. And, so it's like people really value what they have to work for and earn. And so it does set up the pace and the habit of always making that effort rather than, because habits are formed over time. And so if you are with someone and you take it slow, then it's more likely that they're going to just establish that as the more norm of the relationship to make an effort, rather than, seeing the flush of the excitement in the beginning, basing everything on that, and then having a drastic shift once they know that they're in, they're in like Flynn. So as you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your love bond deepens. Let's get one more oracle card and then we will get some clarification. I feel like that was kind of want to come out. Flirt. Again, same theme from last week. So we're having fun, we're being playful, we're flirting. There's different aspects, different pillars to a romantic relationship. It's not just about the serious stuff, about intimacy and getting to know each other. You kind of have to keep that chemistry alive too. And so you got to be able to flirt and have fun, right? And be playful. So have a good time, be flirty, don't take things so seriously, extend your lighthearted energy to others. It's like, this is like a double dose of being in that flirty energy right now. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be hitting on everybody. It just means like, be playful, be talkative with people. Sometimes I'm flirty with everybody. Like I'm flirty with the little lady at the grocery store. It doesn't mean that it's sexual. You can just have fun and be light and, compliment people and be playful with people. But yeah, then because somebody that like wouldn't have noticed you had you just been like introverted and withdrawn and quiet and just going about your day, like not talking to people, like it might catch the attention of someone who's like, oh, they seem fun, I'm gonna go try to approach them and tell them that I love their outfit. That can be a thing. Like if you have like a conversation starter kind of outfit on, I mean, a lot of people come up to me and like, they're like, oh, I love your hat, or I love your outfit, love your jewelry, and like things like that. And it's like gives you someone an open way to approach you. You can't make this shit up. Open up. So 4 of Pentacles. Don't have so much control. Don't be closed off. The 4 of Pentacles is about a couple of things. It's about establishing firm foundations, but in a way, sometimes the 4 of Pentacles can hint that you're being overly controlling and you're creating blocks in your situation. So like open up that lighthearted energy. See the synergistic fusion of what looks like fallopian tubes and the uterus. And what is that? It's something that people look for, but maybe never find. You guys know what I'm talking about? Dolores, that was her name. Seinfeld reference, if you know, you know. But yeah, open up. Get that feminine energy going. Even if you're a masculine, and I've talked about this trick before, and I'm going to tell you guys again. We talked about this in the manifestation oracle reading. But all week at work, we've been like doing this trick, and I feel like it's been pulling in more walk-in business. But in order to activate your energetic feminine energy of receiving, there was a trick that I learned from, I can't remember what YouTuber it was. It might have been Margarita Nazarenka. It might have been somebody else. But it's kind of like I don't know, I would consider it sort of magically, sort of a witchy trick. But it's about like getting really relaxed, and it involves breath work and like relaxing your body and opening up. So as I'm saying this, it's hard for me to do it while I'm saying it, but y'all will get the idea. So you're going to do 3 repetitions of taking a deep breath in, and you can close your eyes if you want, but take a deep breath in through your nose, deep into your stomach, into your diaphragm, and then hold that for a minute. And as you release that breath, drop your shoulders and open your vagina. Let that vaginal canal relax and open up. So you're gonna take another breath in, hold, relax all the shoulders, all those muscles, open that vagina up. And if you're a man, I would say open from the taint, open what you can. It's like that root chakra. You're opening up that ability to receive and call in. And again, one more time. Hold. Release. Relax your shoulders and open that vagina. So that is a way you can open up. You can try it before you get out of the car and walk into a place. True story. I did that before I went into a sandwich shop. And as I walked up to the door, a man opened the door for me. I said, oh, thank you. And then when I got to the counter, he said, I want to buy her lunch. So you never know what it's going to bring in. Okay, let's grab this one. Embrace. So playfulness is clarified by embrace. Embrace that sense of playfulness. Embrace that youthful spirit. The world card here is like you have come through a cycle of lessons and learning, and you've learned a lot as you're reflecting on your love life. And so it's like you have a lot more wisdom and savvy and relationship experience than you did when you were younger, you know? So what if you could go back to your younger self with all the wisdom that you have now? So it's like, how dangerous is that to be able to capture that youthful, playful spirit with the confidence and the savvy and the self-confidence and the self-esteem that you have now, that you've earned now, and that self-worth. Knowing what you didn't know then, armed with relationship tools. And I would say, if you don't subscribe to any relationship coaches, Matthew Hussey is a really great relationship coach. He's just a great coach in general on life topics, but he centers around romantic relationships. And men have started following him too, but he's, a big thought leader in the realm of coaching and personal development. But you can find him on YouTube. He's got a channel. He's got a lot of followers. So embrace all that you've learned now as you're moving forward, and you can approach your love life on a new level that you ever have. But you don't have to be weighed down by the baggage of the past. Use all that you've learned and leave the rest. Okay, getting to know each other. We have control coming up, control issues. So 8 of Swords is like that feeling of being trapped, like we were talking about, and closed in. It is a lower octave than the Devil card, but it's kind of a similar situation. It's like this illusion of being trapped, illusion of being stuck, illusion of having no other options. So don't let that cause you to have like anxious attachment and try to control every aspect of something as it's coming into being. That's not exciting, right? It's the anticipation, it's the mystery, it's all playing out in the beginning. So let go of control issues. There's nothing more repellent in a romantic courtship than wanting to control everything. So first of all, that. Second, you will feel, don't get yourself trapped in a situation because you didn't take your time getting to know the person. So again, like both take your time getting to know someone so you don't feel or have the perception that you've been trapped in a mistake that you shouldn't have made by getting in too deep too quick. And then also let go of control. Let things unfold naturally. Don't try to get in there and like nitpick and force things and nag and like, oh, are we still doing that this weekend? All of that. It's like, it's not attractive. It's repellent. It makes someone feel like they're not going to have any freedom if they actually took it further with you. It's like they would feel that nagging sensation, like you're always going to be on them for something. It's like when I approach a table, I get instant vibes off of them by the way that they let me approach them, by the way they communicate back to me. And I think that one of my least favorite things is when I approach a table and I'm trying to greet them and let them know where they can find stuff on the menu, how the pacing is gonna work. So I work at a restaurant that like we course things out for you. So it's not like, can we throw in some apps kind of place? It's like, just let us time this for you. You'll have a better experience. But nothing's worse than when you like approach a table, you just try to say hi and they're like, we'd like to put in some apps. We're going to get some drinks started if you don't mind. And then they're like not even ready. They're like, okay, let me look at the menu. And it's usually the woman who's like in her masculine and she's like butting in, and it sets the whole thing up to be rigid, and you're already shooting yourself in the foot because you think you know best. And if you're insistent, I have to like accommodate you, but you're not going to get the best experience. Just trust that my job, it is my pleasure to give you a good time, to show you a good time. So think about that as you are, it's not just about you and the people that you're dealing with on your date, right? And like letting the restaurant do their thing to like help you have the best experience, but like trusting your date, trusting that, if you can have a little bit of trust and relax, that you're probably going to have a more pleasurable experience as things unfold naturally. Because also, like, even if you do get your way and everything falls into line and perfectly in place, you're still not enjoying yourself in the meantime because you're so neurotic, trying to control everything, right? So relax, have fun, be flirty, not frigid, not controlling, not insane. Okay, let's get a little bit of clarity on flirt. So we've got the Devil card coming up. Again, like flirt and the Devil card. Obviously, don't let that flirting go too far, right? Don't get carried away and, get too saucy too fast and all of that. It can happen these days. I remember recently, I was like, this dude DM'd me on Instagram and he was like a fellow like spiritual teacher type. And he was technically filled in some of the boxes that I was looking for, but I wasn't like fully like attracted to him. I'm not the person that can be really attracted to someone unless I get to know them and start establishing chemistry. So I was like, what's the harm? Like, I'll talk to, I'll answer his DM or whatever. And everything was all fine and well. And we had a little bit of banter going. Well, I had banter. I was funny, but it started to become apparent to me that he did not have much of a sense of humor. It didn't seem to. And I was like, but he's like a spiritual person, it seems like. So like, oh, maybe I'll give him a chance. I'm not going to be too hard on him at first about like being judgmental about him not having a sense of humor. Well, I should have like listened to myself right off the bat. And so like he wasn't picking up on my jokes, and it was like comic gold. And he like, there was just like a little bit of back and forth. And I was like, I don't know what the point of this is going to be, because he lived across the country when I figured out like where he was located. And we'd hardly exchanged like any messages over a couple of days. And then I wake up one morning and he sent me like a picture of himself in the sauna. It was like shirtless sauna picture. And I'm like, okay, this is already going in a bad direction. And it like immediately turned me off, because it wasn't, first of all, I'm a photography video background person. So the graininess of it, the photo quality, he didn't put it like, any kind of like color correction. It was just like, it was an unappealing photo. But also, I'm not that attracted to you. And then you're sending me this like picture where you think you're being so sexy. And it's just like, too much, too fast, like not into it. And then it's like, what are you trying to like lead this into? Devil card. Going into like probably a textual, sexual sexting situation, which I was not wanting to, get on board with. So I was just like, you seem nice, and it does look very hot in that sauna. Just give him a little ego boost. But I think this is a test, and I don't think that there's any reason for us to like continue on, because it's pointless. You're across the country. So I hope you find your person soon. And he was like, you're probably right. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Just don't send that picture to anybody. So watch out for those red flags. Also, don't feel like this is your only option. One of the things that I remember at some point when as I've studied tarot, I remember this line always stood out to me, is that the devil's number one lie is to tell you that there's no other option. If you think there's no other option, then the opponent is at work in the situation. So until you have really gotten a sense of someone and decided like, you know what, I like this person, I like their energy, I like where it's going, they want to progress things, they're talking about exclusivity and things like that, don't feel like you're trapped into this one thing, where you're not open to, you don't have to like entertain like full on dating other people, but don't give someone commitment that they haven't earned yet. Don't give someone your full devotion until they have earned that, right? Don't think they're your only option. Don't think this is the best I'll ever do, so I have to settle for this now, and anything like that. Just take your time and really, get to know someone's character before you decide to lock things down. Let's get another card on flirt, on the energy of flirting. Change your focus. So 5 of Cups. This is like, 5 of Cups is disappointment and crying over spilled milk and regrets and things that didn't work out. So also, as you're getting to know someone, don't put all the baggage that other people have put you through on them. They aren't guilty of that. They didn't do anything. Today, I was driving around and running a bunch of errands, and I'm trying to switch health insurance, and it's just like a nightmare because you got to go get like a physical, which comes with like a lipid blood sugar test and like a lipid cholesterol test. And it's like no one that you call around and ask for if they offer it, like no one knows what you're talking about anymore. I called this location that offered this product, those labs, and literally when I got there, like I was even like, I paid for the thing before I even went into the exam room. I got in there and the nurse practitioner was like, I don't know what they want from you. Like, I don't understand like this paper. Like they didn't send us like a packet or like a big form. And like, they just need these 2 things. And she's like, it was so confusing for her. Like, and I was like, it's just these 2 tests. Like, and she's like, well, we don't have your medical records. And I'm like, I don't expect you to. I've never been to Vanderbilt walk-in clinic. Like, I'm not a patient of Vanderbilt. Like, it's okay. I just need you to do these 2 tests. And I had to be super persistent and really watch my patients because I was already exhausted with the air conditioning issue that I've had going on and the maintenance guys and everybody giving me the runaround for like 3 years. And it's like come to this climactic head this week. And I'm just like trying so hard not to like go postal on anyone and everyone because I'm already like this short fuse, and I can understand how like people snap over something that was seemingly minute, and they're just like, they go totally postal, and they start like running all over the road with their cars, and they're like enraged. And I'm like, yeah, I totally get that. I got it today because I was like, it would be nice if you could start your like patience meter over with each person and not already be exhausted by the time you get to someone who is like legitimately a nice person, but it's just like, what? Like, why? Like, you're the expert here. Like, why don't you know, like, can't you read the paper? Like, just read the paper. And she's like, well, we would have had to take in your, like, height and blood pressure and, like, weight and all that. And I'm, like, literally, like, that's the first thing that the other nurse did when I walked through the door. He was like, can I get your weight? And she's holding the paper with all the answers on it. And I'm just like, is anybody else seeing this? Am I insane? Is this an illusion? Like, am I in a padded cell somewhere having gotten shock treatments and this is all a dream? Or is this really happening? Like, it was like, I could not deal with it. But I made it out successfully without becoming another statistic of a person who lost their mind completely. But this is same situation. It's like you've got to let people start fresh with their own slate, right? You can't bring the scorecards in from the people from the past. You have to let them have a shot of like being their own person and having that learning curve with you as if you haven't already been exhausted in your life up to this point. So give people patience, change your focus, try not to focus on all the things that have ever gone wrong in your relationships, because that will also help you just have a good time and be in the moment and be in the present with someone that you're getting to know. You're not living in the past, dwelling in the future, like worried about it all. You're just like present. You're just here. You're just in the moment. You're having a good time. You're getting to know each other. You're letting it play out. And you know what your ultimate relationship goals are for yourself, but it doesn't necessarily mean you need to project it on that specific person until you're both on that page together and it starts mutually going in that direction. Otherwise, these are your goals that you are clear about. And if you can see that this is not going to be panning out in this particular opportunity, then that's why you shouldn't feel trapped. You should feel like, okay, well, I will explore other opportunities then. And I might meet another person who does have the same relationship goals and desires, and they're ready, right? So keep your options open. Don't lock yourself into someone just because you like them, right? You liking them is not the whole thing. It's like there's a lot more important factors involved. Liking them is a necessity, but that's just not the only necessity. And so you can't tie yourself up with a person who you like, but doesn't hit those other major core pillars of readiness, mutual goals, and mutual attraction, mutual investment in one another. Like, it's not even like you have to have someone else who's like equally wanting the same things and with you specifically, not just, well, they want to get married someday too, and that's what they said. They're looking for this and that, but it's like, is it with you though? Like, so all of these factors have to be in place to really start, moving in a real forward direction. So you just want to keep it light until you start figuring that stuff out. And like, it takes time to discover that about one another and to see if that's something that's going to be compatible for both of you to go in that direction together. All right, you all. Well, I hope that good things happen in your love life this week. I hope good things happen in my love life this week. And we will be back together tomorrow for our weekend reflection message. What's interesting is that I don't watch the Olympics or anything like that. I'm just like really unplugged from like the world stage. But my Friday reading last week totally predicted all of the upheaval surrounding the opening ceremonies. I did see the thing that was very reminiscent of the 4 horses of the apocalypse, like bringing the flag up, which did give me the creeps. But I didn't know anything about the Last Supper thing. And it's so crazy because last week when I was trying to decide, I was in a rush actually, and I was like, what am I going to do with my picture this week? What am I going to do with my picture? And like, I was impressed to get the book out. It's a book about this woman, Jamie Beck, who lives in Provence, and she's a photographer, but she does a lot of food photography. She does a lot of like flowers and just like French culture. And I wasn't even putting it together. It was just like, sometimes I use her imagery because it's romantic and sweeping and painterly and wistful. And so something told me, as it usually does, like that's how I figure out what the picture is going to be. I don't think about it. It's another channel that comes through. So it was like I was told to grab that book, open it up, and it would be the picture that I opened it up to. And I opened the book, and it was her having done her own tribute to the Last Supper, except all the people in the picture were her, different self-portraits of herself. Well, it's so interesting when I looked back at the cards that had come up in the reading. So many times there's so many layered meanings going on, and so many times world events do come through in the messages, but I'm just usually not reading from that lens. And so the World card was there. The Ten of Pentacles in this particular deck always reminds me of people looking on at a situation and judging it, and like looking at, like, it's like they're like an audience to see like what's going on. And so it was so interesting because one of the oracle cards was the rebellion card, and then there was the vision card and the fulfillment card. And it was almost like a fulfillment of the prophecy of this rebellious take on the Last Supper. And I'm not going to weigh in on these opinions. I do love drag queens. There's, also opinions that it could be the Feast of Dionysus or whatnot, but I do think it is odd that, The Chosen is really popular right now, and the other part of the ceremony felt like very apocalyptic and revelations, based. And so now it's like, oh, after the backlash, like now they're going to be like, oh no, it wasn't that. I don't know. I don't pretend to know. People's art is their art. But I do think it was very strange that I was prompted to choose a book about France that opened up to the Last Supper and the fulfillment of a rebellion in a prophecy was like playing out. The World card was there, and I can't remember what the center card was. It was like Oh yeah, the Hanged Man, which is the Christ card. It's the Pisces card, and Pisces energy is related to the Christ energy. It's the fish. It's like, it was so crazy. So crazy. I also accidentally predicted Gisele Bundchen's divorce from Tom Brady when that happened that week. It was crazy. And the death of Queen Elizabeth, which was wild. And the lockdown. And a tornado that hit Middle Tennessee. But I didn't know that at the time. It was just like, on hindsight, it was like, oh, it was in the cards. We just didn't know the specifics. So it was crazy. So wild. And it was in like the details of like the props in the picture and everything like that. And like the page of the book and it was just like odd. But anyway, I thought I would point that out. So tomorrow will be Friday's reflection reading for the weekend. All right. I'll see y'all then. Ciao. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it, then please give it a like. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications to be notified of when I drop content. Like the videos, comment, share them. Anything that you do helps these messages get out to other people who need them. So you watching a video and taking an action on it actually makes a positive difference in someone else's life.